Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Am I audible and visible to all of you? Okay, let's get started. The other day, we were discussing about quasi-contract, right? We discussed the basic essentials of quasi-contract and even we discussed the definition of quasi-contract and some rules regarding quasi-contracts. Today, first of all, let me give you a brief whatever we studied the last in our last class. We studied about what is quasi-contract. Quasi-contract is not like usual contracts, other ordinary contracts. Like in that contracts, what we do, we make an offer, other person gives their acceptance, and likewise agreement is built, and then the enforceability is added, consideration is there, everything. But in quasi contracts there is no such situation. Here these contracts are imposed by law. These contracts are based on the principle of equity and they are imposed by law. That is, law forcefully wants you to enter into these kind of contracts. Okay, so we studied this about these points about quasi contract. Today we'll be studying about certain situations where quasi contracts arises. Okay, so right now we will be studying on page number 62 of your module. Page number 62 of your module. Section 68 to section 72. First, it is claim for necessary supply to person incapable of contracting or on his account. Whenever a person is incompetent to enter into a contract, like minors, what happens? A guardian is appointed for them. What is the work of guardian? The guardians are appointed so that they could take care of these incompetent persons. Now, a guardian is appointed for minor, that because until the age of majority he did not have that mental health that he can take wise decisions. So likewise anybody can take advantage of these minors. So to avoid these circumstances, the court of wards avoids provide a guardian. The work of guardian is he will look after this minor until he becomes major. He will provide all the necessaries. I am stressing on the word necessaries because only necessaries are included here, nothing else. Necessaries will depend on the living standard of the incompetent person. Okay, like if he if he is living a very high standard life, then in that case the very luxurious item, which are luxurious items for us, can be necessity for that minor. So remember one thing, when these necessaries will depend on the living status, will depend on the standard of living of the incompetent person. So if a guardian is appointed for these incompetent person, the work of guardian is he will provide necessaries till they become competent to the incompetent person. Now what happens, this is the minor, this is the guardian. Okay, now these guardian keep on providing necessaries to the minor. So the all the necessaries of the minors are fulfilled free of cost, right? He is not giving anything to the guardian, and minor did not told guardian to do everything. Guardian is doing because the court has told him to do so. Now he is giving him education, he is giving him food, he is giving him everything he need. So now the position of minor is here because he has received everything on expense of nothing. He did not give anything to come at this position. But the guardian's position is going down day by day. Why? Because he is spending all his money on this minor. So the law says that both the parties must be at an equitable position. If one party is here and another party is here, it is not done. So the law says that whenever this minor will become major, this minor will provide compensation for all the necessaries he has received. He will compensate this guardian. That is, whatever expenses he has incurred till the date of majority, the minor's property will be liable. The minor will be liable to give this money back to the guardian from the property he has been inherited. Okay, so now what will happen? Whatever the expenses this guardian has incurred on this minor, he will provide this back. For example, now till the date of majority, this guardian has incurred 75 lakhs for the necessaries of this minor. So now this minor has become major. So he will provide 75 lakhs to this guardian and both will be on a equitable position. So here in the starting, the minor did not give any offer to the guardian that will you take care of me, or please take care of me and I will provide you whatever you are giving me. I'll give you compensation for that or something like that. If the minor have told this earlier, then there was a normal contract, but there was no talking between minor and the guardian. So here, although there was no offer, no acceptance, but yet there was a silent contract between minor and the guardian, and that was quasi contract. That is, now whenever this minor will become major, he'll have to compensate this guardian and he both will be on a equitable position. The minor cannot take this excuse that I never told you to do everything for me. You did it by your own, so I am not responsible now. No, minor cannot take this excuse. Reason behind this is all the guardian has done was for minor's good. Okay. And the law says that no one can enrich himself on the expenses of another. That is, no one can take advantage, no one can take unfair advantage of the other people. Now, if this concept was not there, if there was no quasi contract, then no one would come ahead and take care of minors, right? So that both the parties must be on equitable position, there is a quasi contract between minor and the guardian, and which says that whenever this minor will become major, he'll have to compensate each and every penny that this guardian has incurred on the expenses which were necessary. Okay, on all the necessaries. If he had done expenses on something which is luxury, which was not so necessary, then he'll not get compensation for that. Like for example, he has incurred 15 lakhs for necessaries and 10 lakhs for luxury. In that case, minor estate will be liable only for rupees 15 lakh. The remaining 10 lakhs will not be counted because they were on luxury, not necessary. Okay. Right now we are on page number 62, point number 1. The next is reimbursement of a person paying money due by another in payment of which he was interested. Okay, now in short, it is payment by interested party. Sometimes what happens, somebody else is interested in your work and he pays something on your behalf. That does not mean that now you are free from your responsibility. Like in the other class we were discussing, we took an example where Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan were best of their friends and the land of Salman Khan was empty. So Shah Rukh took the land of Salman and started doing his business on this land. So what happened? Salman haven't paid lease for this land from last 3 years. So the income tax officer came and told him that you haven't paid property tax for this property since 3 years. So now you are bound to pay a tax amount rupees, suppose 20 lakh. You'll have to pay 20 lakh and this land will be free. If you do not pay 20 lakh in 10 days, then your property will be seized. Now what happens? Salman still refused that go, I will not pay this. I am not in a condition to pay this. But on Salman's land, Shah Rukh was doing his own business. Shah Rukh was doing his own business, which was very profitable. So Shah Rukh thought that if Salman's land was gone, then in that case, losses will be directly, indirectly, Shah Rukh will also suffer some losses because finding new land, starting this business over again, this would be very difficult. So what did Shahrukh did? Shahrukh paid tax on behalf of Salman. Now Salman did not ask Shahrukh to pay that, right? But that does not mean Salman is free from his liability. Salman is not free from his liability because he was entitled to clear this debt, right? He was entitled to clear this entire tax wala amount. But who cleared? Shahrukh. Why? Because Shahrukh was interested in the land which was about to get seized, right? So here, the payment Shahrukh gave on behalf of Salman is not free of cost, is not a gift. Here, Salman in future will be responsible, will be liable to pay this money back to Shahrukh. Now, the 10 lakh which Shahrukh paid on behalf of Salman will be received by him, uh, will be given by Salman again whenever he'll be in a position to give. Okay. So here Salman cannot take this excuse that I never told you to do these things, right? So there is, I never gave you an offer, so there is no contract between us. Here, although Salman did not ask Shahrukh to do so, but yet there is a silent contract between Salman and Shahrukh, and that is a quasi contract. Now what happens? Salman was supposed to give the tax for this property, but Shahrukh was not supposed to give. So what happened? Shahrukh gave this tax. Okay, so the position of Shahrukh went down. Now he has incurred some expenses. जिसका फायदा हुआ किसको? सलमान को, on which Salman was benefited. Now what happened here is that law says that parties could not be like this, they should be like this on an equitable position. So law says that whenever the Salman comes to a better position, then he will be responsible to compensate this Shahrukh. Okay, he will be responsible to give this money back to Mr. Shahrukh, and both will be on an equitable position. So remember one thing, if you want to come under this point, you'll have to stick to some conditions. First is, the person who is giving payment on your behalf must be an interested party, must be an interested party. Now what does this interested party means? Interested party means that the payment he is giving on your behalf is directly or indirectly is for his own interest. Okay, if somebody else, like for example Salman and Shahrukh were friends, and out of friendship Shahrukh gave this money on behalf of Salman, so here this point will not come under quasi contract. Reason behind is Shahrukh paid it out of friendship, but not because he was interested here. Okay, but in our example, Shahrukh was running business on Salman's property, and if Salman's property got seized, then in that case Shahrukh was directly, indirectly, he had to suffer losses. So that is why he paid in on behalf of Salman. So first thing you have to remember, this first condition is the person who is paying on your behalf must be an interested person. That is, he must have some interest in your business. If he is not an interested person, then there will be no quasi contract between the parties. Second, the payment you are giving on somebody else's behalf, that debt, that payment should be for legal purpose. Okay, if anything illegal is involved here, then it will not come under this, it will not be a quasi contract. Okay, now for example, this 10 lakh payment which Shahrukh gave on behalf of Salman was for some illegal purpose, was for some smuggling or something like that. So here what happens, this will not be a valid quasi contract. Reason behind this is the payment was made, although the payment was made by interested person, but this payment was not legal. This was opposed to law. This was not lawful. So if you are giving payment which is against law, that is which is illegal, then again it will not come under this head. Okay, so two things you have to remember in this point is, the party must be interested, and the debt must be legal, and the payment must be legal. If payment is for illegal purpose, then it will not come under this head. I hope these 2 points are clear. Okay, next is obligation of person enjoying benefit of non-gratuitous acts. Now, before starting this point, let me tell you what is non-gratuitous. Whenever you are giving something to someone and your intention is not gifting, your intention is not gifting, you are not giving anything free of cost, you want something in return from that person, that is non-gratuitous. But when you give something with the intention not to get anything in return, then that thing is known as gratuitous. Okay. So non-gratuitous is when your intention is not to give somebody a gift. Okay. Sometimes what happens now? Somebody do something for you and you think that he is giving you a gift or he is doing out of respect or anything, and you do not give anything in return. Now let's take an example and then you'll understand this point. There are two best friends. Okay, again, there are two best friends. One is suppose Mr. A and Mr. B. Okay, Mr. A and Mr. B are best of the friends. So what happened? They both started similar kind of business. Okay, so they both started similar kind of business. They took their factories near each other, side by side. Okay, now what happened? Both decided that because we are dealing with the same raw material, we are dealing with the same goods, everything is same in our business. So let us take a common go down. Let us take a common go down. You'll pay the half rent and I'll pay the half rent. Okay. So what happened? Both the friends, that is A and B, took a common go down and appointed a common person who was looking after this go down. Now what happened? Mr. B was there was Mr. B's birthday on that day. Okay. So Mr. A told the person working on the go down that please bring 100 quintal of raw material. Please bring 100 quintal of raw material and keep that to my factory. Okay, that is Mr. A's factory. Now what happened? This go down keeper went and bought this raw material. But in the meanwhile, he got confused. He got confused. That is on whose factory I was supposed to keep this material. So what happened? Out of like confusion, he kept this raw material on Mr. B's go down. Okay. So now Mr. A told this go down keeper to bring raw material and keep it at his office place, workplace, factory. But accidentally what happened? He got confused and he kept that raw material on Mr. B's go down. So what happened? That on that day it was Mr. B's birthday. So Mr. B decided that now, Mr. B thought, not decided. Mr. B thought that because it is my birthday, so Mr. A has sent this raw material as a gift because this is a very necessary item for me. So he gave me as a gift and he consumed it. He utilized it. He started using that raw material. Now what happened? Mr. A came running to Mr. B. Mr. A came running to Mr. B and told him that you were not supposed to use this raw material because I told this go down keeper that bring that raw material to my factory, but instead of bringing it to my factory, he kept this raw material on your factory and you have used this. Now here Mr. B will not cannot take this excuse that it was your go down keeper's fault, so I'll not return. No, here Mr. B will be bound to return the benefit back to the person who has given him, that is to Mr. A. Reason behind is here Mr. A's intention was not to gift this raw material. Okay, Mr. A's intention was not to give this raw material, not to gift this raw material to Mr. B. So he did not wanted to act gratuitously. So here his intention was non-gratuitous. So now if Mr. B must if Mr. B has used this raw material, then he'll have to pay the amount of this raw material to Mr. A. If he has not used this raw material, then he'll have to return entire each and every quantity back to Mr. A. So here Mr. B cannot take this excuse that it is your fault and I have consumed it, so I will not give you anything. Because if this statement of Mr. B was valid, then in that case Mr. A would have suffered a lot of loss. So to avoid such situations, to avoid such losses, law has told that if somebody's intention was not to act gratuitous, that is, if somebody's intention was not to give you something as a gift, then in that case you are supposed to give that person back whatever he has given you, or if you have utilized that thing, then you'll have to pay the amount equivalent to the cost of the material that you have consumed. Okay, so sometimes if the person's intention is not to act gratuitously, that is to act non-gratuitously, then in that case it is your duty to give that benefit back to the person that you have accidentally received. Okay, so here also there is a quasi contract between Mr. A and Mr. B. In future, if Mr. B refused to pay this amount, or if Mr. B refused to give the raw material back, then in that case Mr. A can file a very valid case on Mr. B and recover all the loss from Mr. B. Right? Clear? Next is finder of goods. Finder of goods, what is this concept? In finder of goods, what happens now? Finder of goods is a person who has found some lost goods. Now, for example, if my ring has been lost, I was teaching in some class and my ring fell down there itself. But now somebody found that ring and he did not know that to whom this ring belongs. So that somebody who has found my ring will be called as finder of goods, will be called as finder of goods. Now, what is the duty of finder of goods? The duty of finder of goods is to take the goods, keep it in your pocket and just go. Or take the goods, go to the jewelry shop, sell it, take the money and enjoy. Is this the duty of the finder of goods? No, this is not the duty. The duty of finder of the goods is that he has to find the real owner of the product. Okay, whatever goods he has found, he has to find the real owner. Until he finds the real owner, he has to take care of those goods, just like similarly, if that goods belongs to him, then how he had been taking care of that product. Similarly, he'll have to take care of this product also. So what happens here? Now one student find a ring, but he did not knew that to whom this ring belongs. So what happened? He started searching for the true owner. So here what happens, the person who finds the good is known as finder of goods. The duty of finder of goods is, firstly, it is his duty to find the real owner. Once the real owner has been found, okay, then the real owner's duty is to give expenses that have been incurred by finder of goods to find the real owner. Okay, now for example, now this student who found this ring of mine, he incurred expense of rupees 200 for searching me. For example, he has asked someone, he has filed an FIR for which he had to give some money. Then he found out that this ring belongs to me. So he came all the way from his home to give that ring to me. So petrol expenses, any expenses which has valid expenses which he had incurred to find me, I will be bound to pay those expenses to him. Now he has incurred rupees 200 to find me. Okay. So now whenever he'll give this ring back to me, he'll come to me, then I will be bound to pay rupees 200 to this person, to this finder of goods. If I refuse to pay, this expenses, then in that case, this finder of goods can retain the goods. That is, he can keep this goods with himself, or he can sell these goods and recover the money. He can take the expenses and he can give the excess money back to me. Now, for example, he came to me and he told me that I have incurred rupees 200 in finding you, and that was a valid expenses. Okay, so now when he came to me, I told him that I never told you to find this ring for me and you search for me. I never told you to do this. Okay, so there is no contract between us and I'm not paying you a single penny. You just give my ring back. Now what happens? Now what authority he has is he did it in good faith, like he searched for me, he did everything. Okay, so now it is his duty to receive the expenses that he has incurred. So now if I have refused to give the expenses, then he has a right. He has two rights. Either one, That is, he can sell this product and keep the expenses, and he'll have to give the remaining amount back to me. And secondly, he can keep this product with himself, he can retain the goods. Okay, so he has two options. So here also there is a quasi contract between finder of goods and real owner. Okay, so first and foremost, the thing you have to keep in mind is whenever you find somebody else's good, then your first duty is to find the real owner. If you couldn't find the real owner, then you can sell the product, but you cannot use the money until you like in near future, if the real owner came to you and asked you that I have heard my thing was here, and you tell him that I have to already sold that product, then in that case, whatever you have received against that product, you'll have to give that money to the real owner back. So it is the duty of finder of goods, that is, firstly he has to search for the real owner, and then he will be entitled to receive the expenses that he has incurred in finding the real owner. There are two options when the uh, true owner couldn't be found. When the true owner couldn't be found, when he had done all the necessary steps to find the true owner and he couldn't be found, then what happened in that situation? In this situation, firstly, if he couldn't find the true owner and the goods were of perishable nature, that is, goods he found was such that they will decay in 2 or 3 days. In that case, this finder of goods can sell the goods, can sell the products, and in future he'll have to give this money back to the true owner. Second is, one more thing I'll have to tell you here is, if he sold the product, okay, and he received the amount, he gained some profit from this selling. Like for example, the goods was for rupees 10,000, and using his mind, he sold these goods for rupees 12,000. Now here he will only be liable to pay 10,000 to the real owner. Those 2,000 rupees that he was profit that was incurred because of his brain, because of his cleverness, will not be given to the true owner. The finder can keep the profit. Similarly, for example, if finder found somebody's cow, and now the cow gave birth to a calf. In that situation, the finder will only be bound to give the cow back, not the calf. He can keep the calf with him because it was the profit. The thing lost was cow, not calf. Okay. So whenever there is a profit, then finder can keep the profit, but he'll have to return the remaining, the cost of the product back to the finder of the goods. Second situation is when the finder of the goods has incurred two-third expenses, two-third cost of the product to find the real owner, to find the real owner. Now suppose for example, the goods that he found was of rupees 100, and he has already incurred two-third of rupees 100 as expenses to find the real owner. Now in this situation also he can sell the goods. Thirdly, if the true owner refused to pay the reimbursement to the finder of goods, in that case the finder of goods can retain those goods. The finder of goods can retain the goods or can sell the product. Okay. So to be clear, finder of goods is the person who finds the goods. Okay. The lost goods, who find the lost goods. The duty of finder of goods is to find the true owner, and the duty of true owner is to pay the expenses that he has incurred to find him. Okay, so only 3 points are here in this topic. Firstly, finder of goods is the person who has found somebody's lost good. His duty is he'll have to search for the true owner, and if he did not found the true owner and he had already incurred two-thirds of the expenses to find the true owner, then in that case he can sell the product. Okay, or if the goods were of perishable nature, then also he can sell the goods. But selling goods does not means that he can keep the money. He'll have to give the money back to the true owner. The true owner is bound to pay all the necessary expenses that have been incurred by the finder of the goods to search this true owner. Okay, so if he refused to pay, refused to pay, then he can retain the goods. The finder of goods can retain the goods. The finder of goods can keep those goods with himself until the true owner gives the expenses. Okay, or the true owner can sell the product, or the finder of goods can sell the product and obtain the remaining amount, obtain the expenses that he has incurred, and the remaining amount he'll have to give back to the true owner. Okay, so this is the topic of finder of goods. I hope it's clear. If you have any doubt in this topic, you can please ask me here, or if you want to explain me again. So here there is a quasi contract between finder of goods and true owner. The true owner cannot take this excuse that I will not give you any expenses. Reason behind this is I have never told you to search for the product. There was no offer and there was no acceptance, so technically there is no contract. No, the true owner cannot take these excuses. Reason behind this is, although there were no offer and acceptance, but yet there was a silent contract between the true owner and finder of goods, and that contract was quasi contract. Once I'll explain in Hindi also, so that who have not understood, they will be able to understand it better. फाइंडर ऑफ गुड्स ऐसा व्यक्ति होता है, फाइंडर ऑफ गुड्स एक ऐसा आदमी होता है जिसको किसी के गुड्स गिरे पड़े मिले हुए होते हैं. ओके, उसकी क्या ड्यूटी होती है? उसकी ये ड्यूटी होती है कि वो ट्रू ओनर, दैट इज जो गुड्स का सच्ची में मालिक है, वो उसको ढूंढे. ठीक है, और उसको ढूंढ करके उसको ये प्रोडक्ट वापस, जो भी गुड्स उसको मिला है गिरा हुआ, उसको वापस दे. बट ये जो कहानी है ये यहाँ पे खत्म नहीं हो जाती है. यहाँ पे जो ट्रू ओनर है उसको, इस फाइंडर ऑफ गुड्स को उतना एक्सपेंसेस देना पड़ेगा जितना उसने उसको ढूंढने में लगाया है. जैसे मान लो अगर जो फाइंडर ऑफ गुड्स है उसने मुझे ढूंढने में 300-400 रुपए का खर्चा किया है, उसका पेट्रोल जला है. मान लो मैं किसी और सिटी में रहती हूँ, तो वो ट्रेन का फेयर लेके मेरी सिटी में आया है मुझे विजिट करने के लिए, तो इन दैट केस वो हमको जितना भी पैसा उसने, जायज पैसा, जितना भी नेसेसरी पैसा उसने खर्च किया है हमको ढूंढने में, हमें उसको वो पैसा वापस से देना पड़ेगा. हम ये एक्सक्यूज नहीं ले सकते कि नहीं हमने आपको नहीं बोला था कि हमारे तक आओ. नहीं, ऐसा आप कुछ भी नहीं बोल सकते. आपको वो उतना पैसा उसको देना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, तो फाइंडर ऑफ गुड्स की ड्यूटी ये होती है कि वो रियल ओनर को ढूंढे, और रियल ओनर की ये ड्यूटी होती है कि जैसे ही फाइंडर ऑफ गुड्स उसके पास में आए तो वो उसको उस एक्सपेंसेस का खर्चा दे जितना उसने उसको ढूंढने में इनकर किया है. अगर वो मना कर देता है कि नहीं मैं आपको पैसा नहीं दूंगा, तो उस सिचुएशन में ये जो फाइंडर ऑफ गुड्स है इसके पास में दो ऑप्शन है. पहला ऑप्शन तो ये है, वो गुड्स अपने पास में रोक करके रख सकता है कि मैं तुमको गुड्स तब तक वापस नहीं दूंगा जब तक तुम मुझे एक्सपेंसेस का खर्चा नहीं दे देते. और दूसरा ऑप्शन इसके पास में ये है कि ये चाहे तो इस जो गुड्स है इसके पास में उसको बेच करके, और जितना भी पैसा आता है वो उसमें से जितना एक्सपेंस उसने इनकर किया है इसको ढूंढने में उतना काट करके सामने वाले ट्रू ओनर को वापस दे दे. अब मान लो इन गुड्स को बेच करके इसके पास में 1000 रुपए आते हैं, 1000 रुपीज. तो अब ये क्या कर सकता है, जो 400 रुपए इसने इनकर किए हैं मुझे ढूंढने में, वो काट करके रिमेनिंग जो 600 है वो मुझे वापस दे सकता है. तो इसके पास में दो ऑप्शन अवेलेबल है. अगर मैं पैसा देने से, दैट इज जितना एक्सपेंस इसको इनकर हुआ है वो देने से मना कर देती हूँ, तो अगर मैं मना नहीं कर रही हूँ, मैं उसको खुला खुला पैसा दे रही हूँ जितना उसने खर्चा किया है, देन he will be bound to give this money, give this goods back to me. तब वो गुड्स को रोक के नहीं रख सकता. एडिशनल पॉइंट जो इस टॉपिक में है, वो पहला पॉइंट, एडिशनल पॉइंट ये है कि अगर जो फाइंडर ऑफ गुड्स है वो ट्रू ओनर को ढूंढने में जो गुड्स की वैल्यू है, जो गुड्स वैल्यू का उसको मिला है, उस गुड्स की वैल्यू का 2/3 एक्सपेंसेस इनकर ऑलरेडी कर चुका है, बट फिर भी उसको ओनर नहीं मिला है, तो उस सिचुएशन में वो चाहे तो गुड्स को बेच सकता है। नॉर्मल सिचुएशन में ट्रू ओनर के फाइंडर ऑफ गुड्स के पास में ये ऑप्शन अवेलेबल नहीं होता है कि वो गुड्स को बेच सके। ओके, सिर्फ गुड्स को बेचने का ऑप्शन उसके पास तब होता है जब उसने ऑलरेडी 2/3 एक्सपेंसेस ट्रू ओनर को ढूंढने में खर्च कर दिया है, बट फिर भी ट्रू ओनर नहीं मिला। दूसरा सिचुएशन, जब ट्रू ओनर ने उसको जो भी एक्सपेंस उसका इनकर हुआ है उसको ढूंढने में, वो देने से मना कर दिया है, तो इन दैट सिचुएशन ऑल्सो वो अपने गुड्स को, ये जो गुड्स उसको मिले हैं उसको बेच सकता है। और तीसरी सिचुएशन, जब गुड्स पेरिशेबल नेचर के हैं, दैट इज गुड्स ऐसी नेचर के हैं जो कि लंबे समय तक अगर होल्ड करके रखे तो खराब हो सकते हैं। मान लो सब्जी मंडी में कुछ सब्जी का पैकेट मिल गया, तो अब सब्जी की बेचारी की वैल्यू कितनी होती है, वो 2-3 महीने 2-3 दिन से ज्यादा नहीं चल सकती। तो अगर गुड्स पेरिशेबल नेचर के हैं तब भी वो गुड्स को बेच सकता है। ओके, बाकी रिमेनिंग जो फाइंडर गुड्स होता है उसके पास में नॉर्मल कंडीशन में ये ऑप्शन अवेलेबल नहीं होता है कि वो गुड्स को बेच दे। सिर्फ 3 सिचुएशन में उसके पास में ये ऑप्शन अवेलेबल होता है। I hope it is clear now. I do not know Telugu, so please, whatever you have written, can you translate this? Okay, so the last situation where a quasi contract arises is when you have given something under mistake. Sometimes what happens now, we have to give, for example, rupees 100 to some person, some other people, but accidentally, uh, apart from 100, we just type 1000, and 1000 we send that to another person. Now what happened here, we have paid 900 rupees extra to the other person, right? And that was because of our mistake. Okay, that was a mistype or anything. Okay, so sometimes situation arises like this. So what happens if there is a situation like this, then the other person is not supposed to keep that extra 900 in his pocket. It is his duty to give this 900 back to the person who has given payment by mistake. So whenever you are giving any payment by mistake, whenever you are doing anything by mistake for another person, then it is his duty to give that benefit back to you. Okay, he cannot keep that benefit and he cannot say that because it was your fault, then you just like bhugto apni galti. He cannot say like that. Okay, he will have to return the benefit, the extra benefit he has received. So these are certain situations where a quasi contract arises. These are certain situations where a quasi contract arises. So of course I will repeat each and every point if it is not clear. Firstly, quasi contract. Quasi contract is a contract where there is no offer, when there is no acceptance, there is nothing, because it is situational. That is, it will depend on the situation. These contracts are imposed by law depending upon the situation. The situation arise between the parties give rise to this quasi contracts. Okay, and now this contract says that no one can take benefit of another person, no one can take unfair advantage of another person. Both must be who is in quasi contract. If you're talking about finder of goods, then there is a common contract between finder of goods and this true owner, and that is a quasi contract. I'm explaining this quasi contract again. I think you are not clear. Okay, so quasi contract is when there is a when there is no offer. Like generally the contract is made like I gave you an offer. For example, I tell you that I want to sell my book to you, will you buy it? So here what happens, I'm making an offer to you, right? And if you want to purchase my book, then you'll say yes, I'm willing to purchase your book. So you are giving your acceptance. So generally contracts are created like this: one person will give an offer and another will give his acceptance upon it. But in quasi contracts there is no such offer, there is no such acceptance. Depending on the situation it will be formed. Like for example, first situation where necessaries are supplied to the minor by the guardian. So here minor never told the guardian to take care for him, and the guardian never told the minor that whenever you'll become major you'll have to reimburse me. Yet there was no conversation between minor and the guardian, but there is a silent contract between minor and the guardian, and that is known as quasi contract. And this contract arises because law has imposed this. Law says that on the principle of equity, law says that no one should enrich himself on the benefits of another. If somebody is doing some expenses for you, then it is your duty that you'll have to pay that expenses back to the other person. You cannot keep on taking favors from other person. Sometime you'll have to return that favor back to the other person, right? So this is a quasi contract. That is, no one should take advantage of another people. So here whenever this minor will become major, then he'll have to pay this money back to the guardian, whatever he has spent on the necessaries to give him a better life. Okay, so here minor cannot take this excuse that there is no contract between you and me, so I will not give you anything. No, yet there was no conversation between minor and the guardian. There was no offer, there was no acceptance, but yet there was a silent contract between minor and guardian, and that contract is known as quasi contract. Okay. Then we discuss certain situations in this topic where quasi contract arises. Firstly, it is between minor and the guardian. Secondly, the payment by interested person. Sometimes in your property somebody else is interested. Okay, so what happens if he has paid something on your behalf? Why? Because he was also having some interest in your goods. So if he paid on your behalf, then in that case it is not like that he has given you any favor. Whenever you will be able to pay, you'll have to reimburse this money back to the, you'll have to compensate this money back to the person who has paid on your behalf. Okay, third situation is where your intention is not to gift, when your intention is not to give anything gratuitously, then in that case also the person who has obtained the benefits, who has received some benefits, he'll have to return the benefits back, or if he has used the benefits, then you'll have to give the money of the benefits back to the person who has not acted gratuitously. Last is second last is finder of goods. Finder of goods is the person who has found the lost goods. It is his duty to find the real owner, and it is real owner's duty that whenever the finder of goods will find this real owner, then in that case real owner will reimburse the expenses that he has incurred to find him. Okay, the finder of the goods cannot sell the product, he cannot retain the product, but in exceptional situation he has a right, he can retain also as well as he can sell also. Firstly, when the goods are of perishable nature, that is the goods he has found will decay in a short span of time, then in that case he can sell the goods. Secondly, if he has incurred 2/3 expenses of the cost of the goods to find the true owner, then also he can sell these products. And thirdly, if the true owner refused to pay the expenses, refused to reimburse this finder back, then in that case also the finder of goods can sell the goods, or he can even retain the goods with him. And lastly, if he have paid anything by mistake to another person, then it is his duty that he have to pay this extra amount, he have to give this extra benefits he has received by mistakenly from you, he'll be bound to give you back. Okay, so clear now? Any doubt till here? Okay, so that's all for today. On Friday, that is day after tomorrow, I'll be taking a longer class. Okay, till 8 you can expect. Okay, so on Friday we'll have class from 6:30 to 8. Okay, so be prepared because I have to complete this course. So on Friday, there will be a longer class, that is half an hour extra I'll be teaching you. Okay. If you have any doubt for today on today's topic, you can ask me here itself. Those who have no doubts can leave this class. Okay. I'm here for 5 minutes. If you have any doubts, any query regarding anything, you can ask me here itself. If you guys have any doubts in any topic, then don't keep that doubts up to you only. Don't keep that doubts in your head, because doubts will create more doubts and you'll not be able to understand future chapters. Okay, so don't hesitate to ask. You can ask me anything. You're welcome. Okay, my motive is that each and every one of you feel free to ask me anything. Okay, my motive is that only, because if you guys feel free to talk to me, then it will be more easier for you to ask me anything. Okay, and if it will be easier to ask me, then you will not hesitate to ask any doubt. So I want to create a friendly environment so that nobody hesitate to ask any kind of doubt. Okay, so I just keep trying. You also try to give more and more responses so that it will be a better connection between you and me. Okay, so ask your doubts here, or those who have no doubts can leave. Okay. Meaning of quasi, right? If I go grammatically, then grammatically quasi means seemingly, or something which is not real. Okay, but if I go to legal sense, quasi means when there is no actual contract, when there is no actual conversation, when there is no actual offer acceptance, the contract is formed just like that, or the law forces you to enter into a contract, that is quasi. Okay. Okay, I hope you everything is clear. Thank you, everyone. Let's meet day after and just be mentally prepared. We'll be studying for 1.5 hours. Okay. So next class on Friday. Thank you, everyone.